NBA trade season juice or no juice. Always chatter around the NBA and the trade deadline, and this superstar doesn't have a ring, so I want to go get a ring, get me out of here.
It's my favorite trade deadline, far and away, in any sport.
Oh, NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All day.
Because legitimately one move can – in the NFL, you could trade for the defensive player of the year and it still couldn't move the needle. Won't move the needle too much for you. You go get a big dog in the NBA, it could change a lot of things.
And I'm fired up for our first guy because I think he can move the needle.
Jimmy Butler. A lot of things going on in Miami.
He's going out to Don Juan down there.
He's making $48 million.
You know Pat Riley.
Pat Riley's not interested in extending him. It's clear.
No, but he's also not interested in getting postured by a player who's never postured him ever. Has he ever been?
Well, I think isn't it posture for posture?
It is.
You think I don't have enough juice and don't deserve a deal, and I think I do. So
100%.
Jump off a bridge. We can posture all day.
But he's just that guy. The hair stays slicked back in a suit for a reason.
Yeah, this
is what he does. But I'm curious how this shakes out because this got to be disastrous for Spoelstra in the locker room. There's the least juice down there in the 305 I've seen in a long time.
Well, speaking of the locker room and Spoelstra and all that, this is a quote from the game the other night.
Yeah.
Spo on Jimmy Butler not playing in the fourth quarter because he didn't play the other night. We just went with the group that was giving us the most. That's what Spoelstra said. There's a couple other quotes here about potentially, what's Jimmy saying to the media, what's going on with him, and like you said, kind of what's going on in the locker room. When asked Tuesday if he wants to be in Miami, Butler was non-committal. It's a good question. First of all, for him to open that and say it's a good question already tells you. He could have said, he didn't have to, whatever he says after this doesn't mean anything to me because it's clearly like, I could pack up and leave tomorrow.
Well, you worked with him as a Bulls fan. You know this guy. To me, this is not really emblematic of who Jimmy is. He's not really a diva. Sure, on media day he changes his hair, but that's trolling. He's not that guy. Like, he's literally somebody who does like to put on his bootstraps and kind of show up. I want to say Josh Hart-esque show up, but he does. He plays two ways. He does the little things, and he's gotten the 2 finals in the last 5 years because of it. It seems, though, like this is a money situation. And it seems...
So, listen, it's always a money situation. Let me finish this quote really quick, and then we'll get back to the trade. It's a good question. Who knows? I don't, Butler said. But right now, I'm here, so I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to compete, and I'm going to win, and that's all I've got. It's a lot of talk, and it is a lot of noise, which I'm cool with. Doesn't bother me at all. I love that. I thrive in that. Completely different. He just went from one end of the spectrum to the other, that now he thrives in it.
Emotional.
But it keeps y'all wondering. It does. It keeps the world wondering to where you've got to keep coming back and asking me about something. I like it. It's good to be talked about. Even better to be wanted, though. Remember that. Even better. I like it. It's good to be talked about. Even better to be wanted, though. Remember that.
Yeah, that's really...
What else do you need to hear?
The meat and potatoes of it. The last line.
You gotta pay. Period. I'm Jimmy Butler. I've dragged us to the finals multiple times.
After LeBron, I was that guy.
Exactly.
It's like coming in for a Super Bowl decorated champion.
But that's what we're getting at with the money. It's always the issue.
Well,
you're right though, Sean. If you start if your girlfriend is like, "Do you love me?" and you started that with, "It's an interesting question." You're breaking up immediately.
It's done right there.
Yeah. If this was your girlfriend, this relationship's over.
Yes, correct.
I'm reading this quote. Our guy Pete put a couple little Bill Simmons over here.
Yeah.
Trade
machine,
things.
Pete.
Obviously, Houston Rockets is a destination. The Warriors clearly wants to go to non-state income tax destinations for obvious reasons. That's the Mavs, the Spurs, and the Texas teams, and, of course, Nevada. But, still getting there.
Yeah.
Do you see him going and moving the needle to anyone? Do you want to see, I guess, as a fan, and then maybe just from a Miami perspective?
Yeah, he moves the needle for a lot of guys because this is the classic situation where I could guarantee you wherever he showed up, he'd have tons of juice and he'd look like he was 5 years younger.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's too much fire coming out of Miami for that. Like, too much smoke, excuse me, not to be a lot of fire. Like, hey, man, look, I get it. And I think Jimmy's the logical type of dude where it's like, I get it. You don't want to pay me. That's fine. Get me out of here then. Someone's going to pay me. Like, then what are we doing here? Why? I don't want to play this minutia middle, right? So I think
these
that's
three teams, where's most riveting? Dallas, Houston, or Golden State for this season only?
Dallas.
I agree.
For sure.
I think they are probably the ones that go out and try to get him. I mean, Houston's very stubborn with this slow, methodical approach and Ime and how they're doing it. And, Van Fleet's going to be cooked in a year or two, so I disagree with it. I think they're playing it too slow in the NBA. But I also think Dallas has the pieces to trade because Miami, they're too buttoned up from a GM perspective. When have they made a bad trade? It's been a very long time. They draft well. They develop well. They GM well. So I'm just concerned that, Pat Riley's a little stubborn here and he doesn't go anywhere, and then it just cooks Miami, and we see something like we did the other night where he doesn't play in the fourth.
Yeah, and for Houston, they're not title ready win now.
They're not.
And to make the money work, in this trade option, it's Dylan Brooks, Reed Shepard, Jeff Green, Cam Whitmore. I'm not really interested in moving Reed Shepard. I just drafted him. He's a good young guard. I'm not really interested in that.
What about Wiggins?
Funny or not, Dylan Brooks at 22.25 is actually a really fair number. He's been competing and contributing a ton. 20 and a quarter is nothing nowadays in the modern day NBA.
Insane.
So, yeah, man.
The one just to put a button on JB, the one that I said the other week that I still want to hold on to, it won't happen. But if he went to the Bucks, Dame, Giannis, and buckets, see a Middleton, maybe a Gary Trent, AJ Green.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If they could
four
swap
guys.
Butler for Middleton, because that's essentially because they play the same position.
Yeah, and
they would do the same
high
thing.
Salary cap.
That would be a big improvement for me for Minnesota or for Milwaukee.
Ready to talk round 2 in Brooklyn?
Sure, D'Lo. Yeah.
I don't know what Pelinka's doing in Malibu, but he is drinking coffee and not making moves.
I like that. You don't like that move for the Lakers?
I like Dorian
Finney.
Finney.
Defense. They need a wing that can shoot. They need more shooting, more defense. That's what DFS is.
Yeah, but I want him going after bigger fish. Flat out. D'Lo was a movable asset for a low self-esteem team that they could have maybe gone after a better, more impact player. Like, I've wanted DeRozan. I'm not saying DeRozan moves the championship needle, but that's a much bigger contribution piece to me than Dorian Finney. I know he's a two-way player. I know he can knock down threes, plays D. All right, like Gerald Vanderbilt somewhere out there getting healthier. Like I don't know. I need them to go after a 3. It doesn't seem like it's happening.
I will say this. I like the business from the Nets because you move – well, I just blanked. You move Schroeder.
Yeah.
To Golden State.
Yeah.
You get picks back. You then essentially replace Schroeder with D'Lo. They're comparable a little bit.
Yeah.
But you get another pick back.
Yeah.
So you essentially swapped the same guy and got some picks.
They continue
Schroeder's
to do those moves.
is better than D'Lo. They're trying to rebuild it over there, but yeah, D'Lo's just valuable enough offensively where he can get you back a 2, but that's about it. The Nets overall, I'm interested to see what happens with Cam Johnson, but yeah, I mean D'Lo is a polarizing guy.
We're celebrating 40-year-old birthdays in LA off losses against Cleveland. It's not a good time. It's just not a good time. Who would you move in the NBA?
Zach LaVine needs to be moved because I just think he's better than the current situation that he is in Chicago.
Does he work on the Lakers, in your opinion, fit-wise?
That's always been a conversation.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good fit for them, for sure.
Any other All-Stars or anyone that does move? Because we are bettors, and we're always looking for value.
Jimmy needs to get moved. LaVine needs to get moved. I wonder if this I haven't heard many people talk about this. I wonder if you could move DeMar DeRozan to somebody that needs a bucket.
I've been waiting for him to
closer.
go somewhere. It's so not working out in Sacramento.
He's in Sac.
He's getting swolled up.
It never was a good fit with him and Fox in closing games.
He's a slow player. They're a fast-paced team.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see him get moved, but doesn't seem very likely, or I haven't heard too much about that. But
I guess last team I'm thinking of that is maybe trying to throw some desperation at the wall is Phoenix with no picks and no room to go anywhere. Like, does Beal get moved for somebody or something weird like that?
Does Beal still have his no trade?
That'd be a great question.
That's a great question. But yeah, I mean,
year-round golf over
Kevin
there in
O'Connell tweeted out, respected NBA guys, like, my hand's hovering over the blow-up button for the Suns. I'm not pressing it yet, but, like, my hand is over the top of it.
Because if Durant was somebody that got moved, like, do you think all of a sudden he could just poke his head out and be like, trade me? That would be very interesting because they've been winning when he plays and losing when he doesn't. And his impact scoring is clearly so prevalent. It would be fascinating to see him. I don't want to see him in the play-in. I'd like to see him on a contender. I'd like to see him on one of, quite frankly, the Texas teams.
What about Book? Time for Book to move on?
But I think they're going to hold on to him.
That's an interesting
Beal
question.
does still have that no trade clause. It's only him and LeBron that have no trade clauses.
Only two guys in the entire NBA, Brad Beal and LeBron James, no trade clause.
That'll end the segment right there.